STDs.
That's how you get STDs. I mean,
saying I love you to strangers is how you get STDs. Be careful who you say I love you to. You might catch a sexually transmitted disease. Hey everyone, I'm Mick.
And I'm Stephanie.
And you're watching the Polyvlog.
Welcome back.
One of the things I wanted to get into was what I was telling you about earlier on a Facebook post I posted.
Mm-hmm.
It was a repost if you agree kind of thing, and I thought it was an important thing to talk about. Platonic I love yous. Is it okay to say I love you to your friends in a platonic way?
Of course.
I agree. I guess the drawing a line in the sand would be I will tell my friends I love you, because I do. I have love for them. But I'm not going to say it to everybody, and I'm certainly not going to say it to acquaintances who could take it out of context.
I say I love you all the time to my friends.
I'll even say it to other men in that whole, I love you, dude. I love you, man. You brought me a beer. Good job. I don't know. I'm not one of those hippies that's like, love everybody, just kind of love for the strangers and love for the people who cut me off in traffic.
That's how you get STDs. I mean,
saying I love you to strangers is how you get STDs. Be careful who you say I love you to. You might catch a sexually transmitted disease.
You heard about the newest one, right?
The newest STD?
Mm-hmm.
No?
Carpal tunnel?
Oh.
I had to.
So today's long topic is, you told me it was about trust and jealousy in polyamorous relationships?
Yes. I'm going to interview Mick today and
All
ask
right.
him some need-to-know questions.
All right, time to grill me.
Okay, first, how has your past experience with unfaithful relationships paved the way for new ones that you're in?
Okay, well, as many of you know in some of my previous videos, I have been in deceptive or unfaithful relationships in the past. And we'll link to those videos up here somewhere. The important thing that I took away from those relationships is the actions of the individuals. While they hurt me, they weren't about me. Everybody's actions had to do with much more with what was going on in their hearts and in their minds than what it was about whether or not it was intentionally designed. It wasn't designed to hurt me. They were just doing what they wanted to do. Was I considered? No. But at the same time, was I motivating what they were doing? No. It had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with them.
Okay, so what did your previous relationships teach you about jealousy?
Well, when it first started out, I used to believe that being cheated on was going to be one of the worst possible feelings, and I'd never survive it. So what I really learned is that not only do you survive it, and not only is it not the worst thing that can ever happen to you, but it really is a chance to learn to grow. I learned that jealousy is an emotion that no one can make me feel without my permission. It is an opportunity to grow personally and learn from myself.
So how do you keep your past experiences from influencing new relationships?
Well, it's important not to make any new relationships pay for the mistakes of a previous partner. You have to be very, very careful not to take out the things that happen to you at the hands of somebody else on somebody who's new. See, the new partner didn't break my trust. It was the old partner. And what it does is it requires me to come into a new relationship with a certain amount of faith in the goodness of my new partner.
So do you believe that trust is given or that trust needs to be earned?
That's a good question, but I think it's a combination of both. Honestly, I'm not going to come in and dump all of my vulnerability on the table for somebody that I don't know very well. In the beginning, though, you have to start a system of incrementally allowing deposits of trust and giving somebody the ability to continue to earn more.
Like interest.
Like interest, like in a bank. I think that's why they call them trusts.
Ba-dum-bum.
But essentially, no, you don't come in and just hand anybody over your trust. But you do have to give them something to work with in order to continue to grow more.
So my last question, how have you learned to manage your trust and jealousy issues after being in deceptive relationships?
So the important things to remember is that you have to own your own emotions, and nobody can make you feel anything without your permission. Additionally, you are strong enough to handle something like deceit. People are going to lie to you, whether it's in a platonic relationship, a romantic relationship, polyamorous or monogamous. I mean, it's not the end of the world. The other thing is that as you continue to grow, you're going to develop more and more coping skills for difficult situations, and that gives you the ability to tackle things much more efficiently as time goes on.
I have one more question.
Okay.
This popped into my head. So some people say that after they've been cheated on or in a deceptive relationship, that polyamory would never work for them because they can't move past the jealousy and past not trusting others. Do you find that being in a polyamorous relationship is more difficult after being deceived?
I can't speak for everybody who's ever been through a deception,
just you.
But what I would say is that it was my ability to become responsible for my part in what happened in the cheating. I had to look back and own responsibility for what happened to me because I permitted what took place by creating the situation that allowed them to do it in the first place, but also additionally by the way that I handled it.
By allowing them to continue the behavior.
You teach people how to treat you by what you permit them to do. I forgave and let it continue to go on, which passively allowed them to do it again. And I taught them how to treat me by what I was willing to permit. Had I said at that point in time, no, I no longer want to pursue this relationship, then I would have stopped permitting it. However, I forgave, we worked on it, and relapse. I have to own a certain responsibility for what happened in that situation. And by taking responsibility for that, I have been empowered to not allow it to happen again in the future. I've learned and I've grown. I don't play the victim card when it comes to having been cheated on. What I do is realize that I had a role in it, whether it was active or whether it was passive, or both, or a little bit of each. I have to own responsibility for that having happened. I don't have to look at it as anything that I did necessarily, but I was responsible. And so I don't sit back and play the victim role where I say, oh, I could never do this because I'm injured from this thing happening to me. And
you can't live in the past.
No, definitely don't want to live in the past.
So basically what you're saying is don't let the mistakes of previous partners, lovers, friends influence the future of new relationships.
The truth is that I've been in unfaithful relationships, and if I don't let those go, then I'm continuing to stay in those relationships whether or not I'm actively in them anymore or not. I've let them go. I've put them in the past, and I've moved on. I no longer participate in those relationships, and so many people do. They had one bad marriage or one bad relationship, and they take that with them in form of emotional baggage for the rest of their lives, and they're never done with that relationship. So thanks so much for watching. If this was your first time viewing the Polyvlog, please click the subscribe button and click that like button if you like today's video. We post here every Tuesday and Thursday in our continual effort to promote polyamory as a healthy and conscious, loving choice.
Please check the description box below for links to our website, Facebook, and Twitter, and then head on over to Facebook and follow us there. Until next time,
Love abundantly.